Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a report from Signet Jewelers, the parent company of stores like Kay Jewelers and Zales. And trust me, after seeing these numbers, you might need to pawn something to cover your own expenses. This report outlines some big changes Signet is making to its business, including reorganizing brands and closing underperforming stores. We're going to break down what this restructuring really means, how much it will cost, and what it tells us about the future of the jewelry giant. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below, where we can talk about this company and many more. So the earliest event reported here happened in May of 2025. This is when Signet Jewelers announced they were making some big moves. They're calling it the Grow Brand Love corporate strategy. Sounds warm and fuzzy, right? But what it really means is they're shaking things up within the company. Specifically, they're reorganizing their brand structure, which probably means some brands are getting more attention, while others might be fading away. They're also tweaking some of their functional areas, mainly in North America. But here's the real kicker. They're optimizing their store fleet. Or in simpler terms, they're closing down stores that aren't making enough money and moving stores from locations that aren't doing well anymore. All this change comes at a cost. The company expects to spend between $30 million and $45 million on these changes. A big chunk of that is going towards severance, which is money paid to employees who are losing their jobs and other employee-related costs. There's also money paid to employees who are losing their jobs and other employee-related costs. There's also money needed for ending contracts early and for closing stores. Store closures can lead to writing off assets and reporting them as impaired, essentially admitting their value has decreased. They expect about $10 million to $15 million of these costs to be non-cash charges, mainly for writing off assets and dealing with impairment charges. The company plans to exclude most of these costs when they report their adjusted operating income. This is a way of showing investors how the company is doing without these one-time expenses messing up the picture. Basically, they're saying, don't worry about this, it's just a temporary thing. They expect most of these changes to be done by the end of fiscal year 2026, except for the store optimization, which could take 2 to 3 years. This tells us they plan to keep closing and repositioning stores for a while. Now let's talk about the big picture. Is this a good move for Signet Jewelers? It's hard to say for sure. Reorganizations and cost-cutting measures can sometimes boost profits in the short term, but they can also backfire if they hurt employee morale or damage the brand. Signet is facing some challenges. The jewelry market is competitive and consumer tastes are always changing. Online retailers are also putting pressure on traditional brick and mortar stores. So Signet needs to adapt to survive. This Grow Brand Love strategy could be a way to focus on what works and cut out what doesn't, but it also means taking some risks. Closing stores can alienate customers and damage the company's reputation. Laying off employees can hurt morale and make it harder to attract talent. This report was signed by Joan M. Hilson, the Chief Operating and Financial Officer, Item So. What's my take on all of this? Signet Jewelers is trying to streamline its business and focus on its most profitable areas. This makes sense in a changing market, but it's not without risks. The company needs to be careful not to cut too deep or damage its brand. A potential risk is that these cost cuts may not actually improve profitability if they don't address the underlying issues facing the company. For example, if Signet is losing customers to online retailers because of its outdated marketing or poor customer service, then simply closing stores won't solve the problem. An opportunity is to reinvest the money saved from these cost cuts into new technologies or marketing strategies that can help it compete in the digital age. If the company can successfully adapt to the changing market, then it could emerge stronger and more profitable than ever before. Ultimately, the success of this strategy will depend on how well Signet manages the changes and executes its plan. Investors will be watching closely to see if the company can deliver on its promises. Alright, that's our breakdown of Signet Jewelers' latest filing. What's your take on these changes and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.